now. We in a new paradigm. We in the PaRuwty paradigm. See the PaRuwty on my shirt? That's a gatekeeper and an ancient knowledge and wisdom, right? I'm a gatekeeper of those pylons. Said I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim too. I am one of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Islam has failed. Christianity has failed. Hebrew, Jew, Israelite, there's so many damn names in that shit. All of that shit has failed. Look at the planet. Look at the children that are being trafficked. Look at the debaucherous acts that are being exhibited. Look at the innocent people that are being bombed. Where is these spooks and apparitions for these people that's being innocently slain? Says, should I make separate altars for each side of my family? I don't know. It depends on how long you've been working with your altar, right? And if you got a big family and you've been venerating, definitely do that. But I always tell people, don't put a whole bunch of people all over your altar. It's like trying to listen to 20 different people speak to you simultaneously at the same time. You don't have to do that. And you don't owe all of them a debt of gratitude at the same rate that you might just owe your grandma, you know, your grandma, I ain't gonna say the name, but your grandmother and your grandfather, those are your progenitors. Their mothers and fathers, those are your progenitors. You owe them a debt of gratitude, especially the women, because it's a 50-50 chance when a woman goes in labor that she lives or dies. So women put their lives on the line in order for babies to be born. And I don't care how much people say, oh, my mama wasn't nothing. She didn't do this, she didn't do that. Man, she had your ass. That's what she was supposed to do. And at least give her that ashe. You know what I mean? At the very least. But yeah, if you up to it, you welcome, Naya. Yeah. He said a human being. Well, it don't start off as a human. You grow. You don't really become human until you break the plane. Once you come out the water, because while you in the water, you're really a water creature. You're really a water creature. For all the people that be putting the full negative stigmatism on reptilians. All the reptilians. Motherfucker, our genome come from the reptilian. You come in here as a sperm cell. You look like a tadpole. You swimming through water. And then you stay in that same water for 9 months. And you develop gills. Those gills don't turn into lungs until the oxygen is inhaled through your nostrils. And then the lungs inflate. And then you become a warm-blooded creature. You start to feel cold. And now you need to be coddled and nursed. Like a mammal. Like a baby calf. That can feel the sun's light. Said, but galactic reptiles are real. No. Reptiles, what you're referring to is the reptoid species. And there are over 70 different classifications of reptoids within that species. It's not no one size fits all. That's like saying turtles are evil. And turtles outlive us. They got a longer shelf life than humans do. Right? That's your ancestor. Same thing with the frogs. Those are our ancestors. And they come from the reptoid branch of the tree of life. You hear me? He said, time is the only agreement between God and us. We who read what he was written bear witness to him. So you're saying that God is a he. That's what you're saying, that God is a he. If he's a he, that means he's less than a woman. Because men are made of Y chromosomes, which are 5 times smaller than the X chromosome. And also, in order for that chromosome to be present in the genome of your gender, you have to be in the womb of your mother. I'm keeping everything right. Listen to what I'm saying, brother, because you came in here late. You got somebody on the other side that then brought you here. So listen to him, because the law didn't help him. And you will see after you leave this realm, the law's not going to be there. I hate to give people that spoiler alert, but that's not what's waiting for you, right? Not the way that y'all said it. He just said that God is a him. Like you just seen this nigga. Like he pulled up on you this morning and said, hey, come on, I'm about to take you to Chick-fil-A. You made your fajr? Come on, Chick-fil-A open. 6 o'clock. We're going to get you chicken biscuit, an orange juice, lemonade, or would you like tater tot? Get you some Jesus chicken. You hear me? But that's how people talk about God, like that, like he interacted with them at that rate. That's where the cognitive dissonance kicks in, because I vividly gave the resource to where the word God came from. It's a man named John Wycliffe, right? John Wycliffe. Let me go ahead and put this shit up on the board. It's time to get to the board. Y'all tap the screen for me, y'all. Keeps tapping the screen because they're gonna flag my live, and they don't want people to see it, man, because shit getting debunked. You know, we debunk over here. We debunking the foolishness. We in a whole new paradigm. Okay. Y'all look up John Wycliffe. I say this all the time, but y'all look up John Wycliffe. In 6 AD, he came up with the word God, right? When they transliterated that word God into English, what they did was they took the word good and took out an omega, or what you call a O, and they got the word God. Somebody took the word evil and they added a delta. They used addition when it came to the devil, when they used subtraction when it came to God, and gave you the word devil. Now you got two polarizing forces, right? And they call God the creator, and they call the devil the destroyer. All that is polarity. And this encapsulates you in the third dimension. Polarity and duality are trapped in the third dimension, right? Yeah, you just guesstimating, respectfully. But if you don't have no questions, you're gonna end up getting muted next. I'm asking y'all to ask your questions, because clearly you just guessing. See what I was telling y'all earlier about people be guessing and speculating? That ain't cool. And that's okay for you to have those have that guesswork and speculation running through your consciousness. Where it becomes a detriment is when you attempt to share it with others and you know that you don't know what you're talking about. Your own divine self within the center of the core of your being is telling you that. All right? He said, what's the quest? I don't know, you're going to have to be a little bit more definitive with your questioning, Ty Woods. Shouts out to Ty Woods. You always ask good questions. And he said, what's the question? Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what his question. He not asking no questions. He just trying to get me to listen to his speculation. And I was just saying, like, yo, long as you speculating, See, how can I discover the rest of my mom's side of the family if she was adopted? That's an excellent question. He said, let them dive into my sea. Like, come on, man. We just got to mute you, man. All you had to do is ask the question, my man. I'm not here to debate you. Now, your mother, she's been adopted. I done had that with a few people. The reason why these adoptions be taking place and stuff is because of the bloodline, right? They wasn't doing everything to keep the bloodline intact. So the bloodline has to be protected, right? It has to start over somewhere else, or somebody has to nurture that seed, and then it just start over, let's just say like with you or your mother, because you know exactly who your mother is. You know who her, you said she didn't have no mother, but you know, may the ancestors be with your mother. You keep venerating her, and it's going to pull all of those beings into this reality. And if they want that information to be known, they want to be acknowledged from this side, it will happen. Because it didn't happen before with a few people. Right? That information will be revealed to you. But you got to show them that you want to know that. Yeah, you just got to do your due diligence, look up them records, pour your libations, ask your mother. The sins will pop up. You know, I know your mother has passed. I've burnt something for you too. I need to send you something, sister. I'll be sending you something soon. And you just do your thing. You hear me? But if your mother, you know, you're going to have to do your due diligence and start pouring your libations for your mother. I think you're already doing that. And the answers will come. And you'll find out her paternal mothers and fathers and their progenitors. It will happen. You know, when you start making these spiritual connections, it transcends the laws of physics that causes this reality to function. That's why people need a God and a devil. They don't want to function beyond the limitations presented to them by the terror matrix. They don't. They comfortable in their programming, and that's fine. I have nothing against people like that shit making you a better person. That's cool. I was there. So I empathize at every level. I've been on this for 29 years. I wasn't born into it. Right? I had to deprogram and decondition from my belief systems before I got on this type of time. Yeah, the terror matrix, right? Terror. Matrix. My many tricks. You put them words together, matrix. Terra is the name, it's the galactical name of your planet. That's why they call you terrestrial. And when something comes from outside of your terra, you call it extra to terra. You follow? Yeah, these are just some of the terminologies I come up with. That's based on the tetragrammaton that was put out by the Kabbalion, right? Or the Cabal. They operate with hexagrams and pentagrams that are interlocking. And these talismans are used in order to bind the being to their spells and their incantations. Yeah, you welcome, Todd Woods. Yeah, look that name up. I don't know if you got my book, The PaRuwty Paradigm. Yeah. So people be using that word God. They even use the word goddess. That's their shit. Give them their shit back. Use your own terminologies. Because all we doing is giving that shit light. The same way, you know, Pastor Prada and Pastor Pork Chop, they be giving you know, Jesus and the religion and all that indoctrination, we the ones that be pouring life into that shit. We giving it soul. That's why when you go to a black church, I don't care what you say, man. They gonna give you a driven message. They gonna give you a message. They gonna put on a show for your ass. You gonna be like, damn, I really do need to get in tune with God. Right? They make your ass a believer because they putting so much soul into it. So what are some spiritual hygiene tips that are useful? You're going to have to be a little bit more definitive than that. Spiritual hygiene tips, make sure that your altar is clean. Make certain they don't have no cobwebs. Make certain that you changing out your water every day, right? Go look into my story. I put up the 12 facts of the altar discourse, you know. But you want to make sure you're doing that, making sure that you're bathing, washing. I shouldn't have to say this, but sometimes you got to say the shit. Like, make sure you wash your ass, making sure that your altar is in a space that's allocated for that altar. Don't have no altar next to no dirty clothes hamper. If you got an altar in your basement, you shouldn't have no altar in your basement. It need to be in a living space, right? It should be the central location of your home. But I don't want to go too far into detail. You're gonna have to come out to our seminar, and you can get all of the skinny that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's self-explanatory, kind of. Keep your altar intact, right? Don't mess with pentagrams. Don't mess with hexagrams. Don't put no pentagrams or hexagrams, especially if they're interlocking. Don't put them on your altar, right? We got a certain type of cleaning agent that we use in order to wipe our shit down. Just so when something do go awry, we know that it's something from Mephisto. We know it's something funky that ain't come for us. Or come from us. It's something lurking and looking, you know. But those are some of the definite hygienial tips I could say as far as your spirituality. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. So the next one, it'll be in November, but we're not going to be doing an altar workshop. I do the altar workshop once a year, but I do have a discourse for people to purchase. You had to join the community first, loved one, because the stuff that I'm gonna show you, you know, I had to vet people out, make sure that you're not messing with no pentagrams and hexagrams and shit. Make sure that you ain't in alignment with Baphomet. Said, did you ever study sacred geometry? Yeah, I study sacred geometry. I study everything. I leave myself open to receive everything, right? Except that dark shit. I don't fuck with the dark. I gotta be very, and that's you're welcome, beloved. That's why I'm very conscientious, because I done had run-ins with people that are dark practitioners, that are warlocks and witches. And they can't wait to put a spell on your ass. I don't know what the fuck that is. They can't wait to bind themselves to you. So I was telling the sister earlier, when y'all see me, I'm setting a precedent so y'all will know what to do when y'all come across some of these people. You know, don't come to them. Like I told sis, I ain't gonna say your name. I told her earlier, like, yo, she was asking me questions about somebody else. I said, no, you should have asked that motherfucker some of them questions. I can't answer the questions for what that person is saying, what they are attempting to validate. You got to question people. You can't just let them get away with shit and then come ask me. No, get on their ass right there. Fuck how it's going to make them feel. Because if it make them feel some type of way, they already don't know what they're talking about. And then if they do know what they're talking about, and you bring up something that they don't know what they're talking about, they wouldn't have no problem telling you that. Right? But ask the simple questions, like a 4th grade student. Somebody in the 4th grade. People be trying Like, yo, ask me like you in the 4th grade. Or I'll be like, let me ask you a question. And I'm going to ask it like I'm in the 4th grade. Because I don't know everything. I always tell people that. Like, yo, I'm going to ask something, but I don't know how to articulate it right. So I'm going to ask it like I'm a 4th grader. That's the level you want people to be able to comprehend. Because the information should be for the children, right? Said narcissists find spiritual psychology crazy. Spiritual psychology? I don't know what that question is. If that's a question, or you just making a statement. Okay, there we go. Shouts out to Big J, Fear the Bear. Said how to heal sickness. By strengthening your spirit. We are spirits. You have to feed your spirit. And if you don't feed your spirit, then you could become sick. Right? Your spirit is the life force to the body. Where the life force is leaking, right? Then it'll show up as a physical ailment. But we are spiritual beings. Spirits don't get sick. The body gets sick. And when the body is showing ailments, it's because the spirit is thrown off, right? So you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. It's easy to program, and it also is capable of storing memory. Also, put your feet in the grass. Go out there and hold your arms up and lift your head back and inhale some sunlight. I tell people that all the time too. Say, what would you recommend to start with your teachings? I always say get the 1089 manual and join the community, right? Just dive right the fuck on in, because we got over 3 years worth of information in our database, and I teach on the curve. But if you're just coming into your awakening, or people always ask me what book should they start reading, and I say start with a dictionary. You welcome elementos. Start with a dictionary and start with a biology book, because they're biased. It's not the dictionary or the Bible is not asking you to accept something. It's just, it is what it is. What you see is what you get, right? If a person in Asia is studying about the vertebrae and the clavicle and how they connect to the thorax, it could be somebody in Tokyo, Japan, and somebody that lives in Denver, Colorado. There's nothing to argue about. They're going to come to the same exact conclusions. And I'm always propagating for everybody to have a ground of commonality to build from. It is very difficult to do that when people are always bringing their religion to the table. They always want to bring their belief system to the table and what they got faith in. Y'all want to bring that shit to the table instead of bringing to the table what we all got in common. And that's a physical anatomy. You want to strengthen your vocabulary. This way, you're capable of communicating clearly to another. This helps strengthen the understanding that you have with another. Right? But it also sets a precedence for the mechanism in your mind that allows you to learn. Right? Where you pick up through your mirror neurons in your brain, because you're coming from a common space. And I'm not talking in a degree of a commoner, right? I'm saying like, man, what do we all have in common? That's how I look at anybody. You know, I could sit with somebody from Kuwait, somebody from Iran, somebody from Iraq, right? Somebody from Russia, somebody from Asia, or from there's Laos, there's Vietnamese, somebody that's Philippine, man or a woman. It don't even matter what age they are. And I know how to get along with them, because I tap right into what everybody got in common and I build from there. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with my Mexican brothers and sisters. Same thing with my people from Guatemala, my people from Guam, my people from Trinidad. It don't matter where you from. I'm coming from there. I'm not looking at my people from Ghana, Senegal, right? Liberia. I'm not looking at your skin. I'm not looking at your pigmentation or your status. I know that we all on the same planet. And I don't care where you go on the planet, you still on the damn planet. Bus, plane, or train, you still on the planet. Orbiting around the sun, and the sun orbiting around some other shit. Regardless of what you do. Right? So these are the degrees of understanding, or understanding the level of expansion your awareness possesses. And most people can't see outside their neighborhood. Some people can't, their consciousness doesn't expand outside their city limits. Some outside their country. They're locked into that terror matrix that has been presented there. And they can't never evolve from it. I got people back from where I'm from, they ain't been past downtown. They ain't left past, like, man, shit, nigga. I ain't going past the Chrysler. Like, damn, for real? Hell no. I was born here, I'm gonna die here, and I don't need to see nothing else. Like, okay. And I go back home, they still say the same thing. They say the same things. Keep saying the same thing. Like, yo, man, you ain't evolved. You ain't seen nothing. I remember leaving from where I'm from and going to the South, in the South appearing country, and watching the South evolve from being, having that being country to me, and I watched it advance and modernize. And I went back home and I watched my hometown turn country. And I'm like, damn, man, y'all niggas country as hell. Like, we country, like, yeah, this shit country. Y'all like they got country. Because you isolated yourself, right? And didn't keep up with what's modern, or that's what happens. It's an ebb and a flow, but you got to be aware of that. You won't be aware of that if you don't travel, right? You got to be a traveler. You got to go out on a quest. Right? When you go out on a quest, you're going to have questions. And people say, hey, I'm on a spiritual journey. If you're on a spiritual journey, you should have questions. If you don't have questions, you're not on no journey. You thinking about it. Every journey has a destination. And once you reach that destination, listen. Once you reach that destination, you've never been at that destination before. So it's going to feel unfamiliar. A lot of doubt and uncertainty is going to arrive because you've never been there before. But all you got to do is stay there for a while, and then it'll start becoming familiar to you. And once that particular destination has facilitated all that it can for you, the next destination is going to present itself. And that keeps happening throughout the course of your life, all the way up until the time it's time for you to go through that doorway into the spiritual dimension. My man's still on the shadow time. Yeah, yes. We just say shadow instead of night. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? Come join us July 25th. That's less than 40 days. About 40 days. I've been telling y'all. He said it's shadow time. It's shadow. You must be on the other end of the earth. If it's shadow hour where you are. Yeah, but a lot of people are stuck in the duality. Let's go back to the board. A lot of people are stuck in the duality. And they're trapped in the third dimension. They're not operating in 3 dimensions. They're trapped, right, in 2 dimensions, or they're trapped in the 3rd dimension, using 2 dimensions. You got to come out of duality, out of polarity. And these beings that thrive on you staying there do everything in their power to make sure that you only seeing in 2s. You're incapable of seeing in 3s. You know, under my helm, I'm gonna have your ass thinking in 4s. You gonna think in 4s. Say from UK, Liverpool. Shouts out to the UK. I got a community in the UK, and we plan on coming out there to the UK too. That's what's on the agenda. Because people are very receptive in the UK. You don't gotta, and there's no offense to the people here. You ain't gotta twist people's arm off and over-convince them at the rate that you do here. You know, you guys are a little bit more educated than we are, right? We're given a curriculum. We're not educated. And we say, hey, remember this shit. It don't never got nothing to do with the truth. It never does. And these beings ain't being held accountable for that, man. They need to be held accountable. What's going to hold them accountable? Everybody collectively coming together and pointing the finger and saying that's the bad guy. Like they did Al Pacino and Scarface. Like, y'all need somebody to point the finger at and to say that's the bad guy, right? But we don't need nobody to compensate for our own iniquities. No, we look at the iniquity that's being done, and if everybody can agree on that it is being done, we got to look at the culprit of that and point the finger and say that's the fucking bad guy, right? We got to say we ought to be in agreement. And then beings that outrank you intellectually and that govern this reality, then they will step in and intercede on your behalf. Collectively. Not just for this little group of people over here, this group of people. No, your heart gotta be right. Right? Your heart gotta be in the right place. For your mind to be in the right place. You gotta get all that crap up out of your mind and get that shit back to this motherfucker. It's like, look, nigga, you can have that shit. We know that you the fucking devil. I told y'all, a line gonna be drawn in the sand. I gotta use that terminology because that's what people understand. Especially if all of you understand is English. I still had to commandeer to the spellbind mechanism of Leviathan and Kingu that's still on people. And I gotta use the terminologies that you understand. Just to bring you up out of it. Because if I don't do it, you won't come out of it. You'll still try to justify God. That's all people try to. I show them this shit, they be trying to justify it all day. I show it to them again, they just, man, it ain't that you trying to justify it, it's just that the terror matrix that you bind it. You're binded to that shit. And you not acknowledging that you done been binded to it. And then, like, damn, that shit do got me binded. I gotta figure out a way to get this shit. I gotta uninstall this software from my programming. Gotta uninstall it. That's the only way. But see, I'm not here to take away your convictions from you. I'm not here to pull the rug from up under your feet. If that stuff working for you and you're not ready for something in the capacities of the truth, then stay where you at with it. But I'll be doing you a disservice if I bring it to your attention, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I have something of equal or greater value to give to you instead. You hear me? I know I can. But I don't want y'all religious people to get the wrong idea and to think that I'm here to condemn what you are capable of understanding. That's not what's going on. But you have to be aware of the truth if you want the truth. You can't just let cognitive dissonance in and say, yeah, I walk in truth. I'm in the truth of the Lord. And like, that ain't gonna work. We grew up in a nation of Islam, and we would practice al-Islam. Not one time did I ever condemn a Christian when I was a Muslim. Not one time. That never even crossed my mind to even hate on them or to show some disdain. However, the whole time that I was a Muslim, I received disdain from Christians. I'm like, damn, your God teach you how to hate and to be angry and to condemn others? That's a fucked up God. That's what I used to tell people. Once I got about the 3rd or 4th grade, that a lot of people would attempt to make me feel bad because of my religious convictions. And I said, why do you want me to feel bad about it? And they didn't ever have an answer for it. So some years down the line, I started taking on that same religion, and those same people that would condemn me weren't even practicing the religion. Hell, they wasn't even reading it. I'm like, yo, you used to talk all this shit about me being a Muslim, but now I'm a Christian. Now you telling me that I think I'm too good because I'm a Christian now. And your ass don't read the Bible, and your ass not aligned with Christ. I done lived through that. So for all y'all people that be coming in here trying to push your convictions off on me, I done already dunked my head in the water, beloved. I done already been there. I done covered every dimension of that shit that you can. Living it, not reading it, living it. So you're going to be hard pressed to try to condemn me for my degree of enlightenment and the empowering effects it has had on my life and reality. You know what I mean? That's right. Be in it to learn it. Man, it's like, man, I done already did it. I tell people I've been on this for 29 years. And that's just on the spiritual side of the journey. If I go all the way back to Christianity, that's like 13. I wasn't even 14 yet. Right? And I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I got initiated into the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek at 19, 6 years later. You hear me? I got initiated into the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. I answered your question before you even typed it in there. I answered your question. That just show you how. Hey man, I could show you better than I could tell you. And like I tell most of my students, it's your experiences, man. Your experience. Reading is necessary. Having knowledge is necessary, but it's not a sufficient condition. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sufficient condition. Having money is very necessary, but guess what? It's not a sufficient condition. It's not. You are. We got to stop undervaluing our existence and the part that we play within it, and seek to have a positive impact on it. That's all you really got. That's the only type of time you really got to be on. That's how I was talking about the city yesterday, right? When I was telling you guys about the city, I was like, shit, man. That's the type of time I'm on. If I'm going to spend some money, I want to make sure everybody else can benefit from it too, not just me. Of course, I'm a benefit, but I don't want it just myself like, it's I mean, people be, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. You don't take all of that. Shouts out to Bill Gates. I know he the Billy Goat Gates, and we know that. But I watch a lot of Bill Gates stuff. I watch a lot of people when they have little talks and shit like that. But he says something very interesting. They say, hey, you got more money than everybody in America. That ain't true no more. But at the time, when he was like that, he was like, yeah, I don't want all this money. He's like, that's not why he did what he did. But he was like, man, He cut his children off at a certain degree. Say, can you remind me what a series for the altar practices? What series? Yeah, I'll talk to you offline, beloved. We'll talk offline about that. I don't know why you so concerned with the hygiene. You don't have just wipe it down and keep the maintenance on it. Don't leave lingering fruit on your altar. You know what I mean? Don't be all high at your altar. I'm gonna say that again. Don't be high, don't be drunk at your altar. You hear me? Don't always refresh and reset yourself, especially if you know you've been hanging around lowly company. And I'm saying all this stuff because you keep bringing up hygiene. You might be around the wrong type of company as well, right? And their attachments, they may have attachments that are attaching to you. I'm not certain. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm kind of picking up. I'm like, why she keep asking about hygiene? He said the house that I'm in is pretty toxic. Yeah, shouts out to Naya. Naya, how old are you, Naya? How old are you, beloved? If you don't mind divulging. But I'm picking up on what's going on. You're 25? Okay, good. Go ahead, leave a number. Leave your phone number. When I come off of here, I'm going to call you. And I could be a little bit more forthright with you because there's so many people watching from the other side of the wall. They can't wait for me to respond and take little notes and shit. Instead of just coming in here and asking themselves for it. I can feel them, right? And these are people that don't have good intentions, but they don't got everything figured out. Right on, loved one. Yeah, I hit you up and we'll talk and I'll divulge that much to you. How long have you been working with an altar? About 3 or 4 years? How long you been working with it? No? Yeah, a lot of times it be the people in your environment, especially if they're not on that type of time, because it's one in every family. It's one in every family that's supposed to be doing that, right? A lot of people made these contractual obligations before they came into the flesh. Y'all made these type of pacts in the ancestor realm because y'all seen what was going on with that bloodline that you incarnated into. You've seen it. Right? We come here to make an impact on this reality, as I just got through saying a few minutes ago. We don't come here to be an instigator. We don't come here to be a surveyor. We come to make an impact, right? That is one of the packs, right? That's your pack for coming here. And they keep giving you sign, indicator, and message at the sign, indicator, and messages of what they want you to do. And sometimes you only set your preset to go off at a certain time. Say, do you believe in the Spirit of God? Spirit is a kind of a broad term, and so is the word God. To put everything in its context, God is a label. It's a title, right? That's all it is. It's a title that's like, do you believe in name? Everybody got a name, but what's God's name? Right? We know God's title, but what's God's name? And that word God, the way that it's defined, is too broad to allocate to just one individual, right? Because there's so many deities that predate that particular word, right? But what John Wycliffe meant for the word to mean was the creator of all creation. That was his intent, to give a definitive meaning to a word for the creator. Because when you say Yahweh, I don't care what nobody say, that shit does not mean the creator of all creation. It don't. Same thing for El. That don't mean the creator of all creation. Same thing for Allah. That don't mean the creator. You can say that, but that don't mean that that's what it's defined as. Right? Scriptural scholars will disagree. Right? With people's hyperboles. One of the main things, and I got to get back right to that book, one of the main things I can't wait to debunk people with is Amorite intellect. And when they started being educated and taught how to read and write, because they learned how to do all that shit in the CAD. I mean, before then, they didn't have no alphabet system. They didn't have no structure at all. They was living up in caves in Mount Haran. And I got more pictures of Mount Haran. I got more pictures of the Caucasus Mountains. I'm telling y'all. And let me just tell y'all now, they didn't put a camera out here on the light post across from where I live at. I don't know who the fuck did that, but somebody did it. And that shit watching my ass. And it's been there for quite some time. You know what I mean? But they be like, man, who the fuck is this dude? And I know that they're, yes. If I was telling y'all something that was so off, they wouldn't be going to these type of lengths. It's been raining where I live at for the past 2 weeks. Like, it has not stopped raining. And y'all know I live off the sunlight. I go out there and put my feet in the grass, but I'm already charged. That's why it's good to get out there how you can, while you can, when you can, for the times that it don't be no sunlight. You know. But yeah, these beings go to great lengths to attempt to impede upon my progress of emitting and deploying ripples out into this reality. Because the spell is dissipating. The fog is dissipating. It's clearing. People starting to wake up. They groggy. They scratching their head. They wiping the coal out their eye. Some people hitting the snooze button and laying back down. Right? And that alarm's still going off on them. And they seeing it. They groggy. They a little hazy, but they starting to see it and they starting to hear. They real late in the game. Will somebody keep coming to you time and time again? And there not enough people are on the frequency to receive the message. You know, you got to be on the frequency of the teacher in order to pick up on the messenger, in order to pick up on the message, in order for you to be dialed into by the teacher on the frequency. Because they say when the student is ready, the teacher would appear. A lot of people, they go their whole life and don't see it because your ass not on the frequency. You got to get on the frequency. But somebody always sent. Yeah. You know, a lot of people, they be wanting to go back to sleep. And it's like, oh, I don't want to be held accountable for it. Like, nah, man, it's too late. You know, I don't want to know now. I don't want to take responsibility for myself. I just want to, I got to give it up to my sister. Shouts out to my sister. Her birthday was yesterday. Shouts out to Aaliyah. But my sister say that all the time. I be in there building with her and shit. We'd be hitting on one. She'd be like, no, hey, that's too much. That's too much knowledge. I'm comfortable in my ignorance. I don't need to know everything. I don't want to know that much truth. It's unsettling. It's unsettling to my stomach to know that much. I don't need to know that much. I'm cool like that, and I want to enjoy my television shows. But at least she knows herself. She knows her limitation, and she let me know that. You know what I mean? Some people will be like, I'm gonna see how far I can go. Like, man, don't do that shit to yourself. That's why I was saying earlier in monologue, if you know you ain't tapped in at that level yet, it's cool where you at. You're not going to go to hell because you're not ready to fully awaken. I'm glad Jesus Christ got you off of that methamphetamine. I'm glad that Jesus made you put the sauce down or made you stop whoring or whatever. That's good. If that's where you at with it and you're comfortable where you are in your life, I'm not telling you that it's, you know, you dumb or something wrong with you. That gives my ashe. Where you go, where I start getting on your ass is when you attempt to try to push and advocate that on to others, right? When they didn't ask for it. You shouldn't over solicit. You shouldn't attempt to over convince anybody. You hear me? Shouldn't do that, but only Christians do that. You never see a Muslim come to your door and be like, hey, assalamu alaikum. We want to make you become a Muslim. They don't do that. Same thing for, I don't want to say the Hebrew Israelites because they have to be out there with a megaphone like come on, man. If you was really in alignment with the source, you wouldn't be behaving like that. You wouldn't need to. Right? Now somebody got to say this stuff. Somebody got to make people aware of it, man. Yeah, Jehovah Witness, they come knocking on your door and shit. They was knocking on my door like the police one day. I'm like, damn, bitch. Y'all see, they see me. They see me on the live. Like, we about to go to his door. Boom, 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 boom. Like, really? If I wasn't on the live, I would have invited them in. They would have seen my altar. They would have seen the pharaohs all on my wall. They would have been fucked up. And I would have hit their ass I would have pulled out the whiteboard on their ass. Because I'm telling y'all, the way I am right now, I'm the same exact way when this camera go off. Ain't nothing changed. This is not a charade. I'm not putting on an act. This is who the fuck I am. What you see, what you see is what you get, baby Paul. You hear me? What you see is what you get. And I done already ran off 2 groups of them Jehovah, but I'm like, man, I didn't ask you to come knock on my door. And it's like, but Jehovah has a message for you. I was like, if Jehovah had a message for me, he would not need you to do it. It's too much technology out here. He could have sent me an email, could have texted me. You know what I mean? He could have sent me a friend request on Facebook. I'm just saying in the context that people talk about these spooks and apparitions. And I gotta address it in that manner. Listen, because you did the same shit to my ancestors when you first beseeched us. You called us savages. You said that we believed in spooks and apparitions, and that we didn't have any clothes on. Hell, it's 115 fucking degrees. What I need some clothes on for? The sun ain't burning my ass like it's burning you. So I don't have that impediment. They not, but what? Shouts out to my man Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack said it best. They make the world round for a reason, playboy. The world is round for a reason. What comes around goes around, motherfucker. Y'all thought y'all was just gonna get away with all this fuckery that y'all been doing on the planet forever, and people were just gonna be dumb to it? Hell no. Shouts out to my pink people out there. It's 111 as I'm saying it. I'm telling y'all, that was my petition to the ancestor realm. Get these pink people to get on their own people. And they be getting on their ass. They be getting on their ass. I gotta give y'all a salute, man. I got to. Look who they hearing it from. Cause they try to shroud that. They don't want that to get through the algorithm. They don't come through the TikTok, but you go through the Instagram. They going in hard. I gotta give it up to some of these pink people, man. And shouts out to my pink brothers and sisters. Some of them they be putting their life on the line and everything. They do. For the truth. Fuck their pigmentation. Fuck their religion or their God or whatever. They're like, no, that ain't got nothing to do with this shit. But I'm going to hold you accountable. When I get old, this is how some of these pink people is thinking of. They're like, shit, when I'm going to get old, they're not going to say that I was a fucking racist when I was that age. They're going to say that this motherfucker was putting that truth out there. But how many more generations had to go on of so-called Caucasian pink people being racist? If you was born past 1970 and you Caucasian, you shouldn't even be racist. You should be going to see Tim Wise or Jane Elliott. You need to be taking up their discourses and deprogramming and uninstalling that operating system from your consciousness. You hear me? Just like the so-called black people need to uninstall the religion from their conscience. So we all got some work to do. It's just seeing the deficit, addressing it, and then coming to the table and looking at what we all have in common. Then we can grow as a planet, not as a people, as a planet. Because beings that outrank you celestially, they're not looking at what the Tibetan monks are saying and, oh man, no, we just gonna say the Tibetan monks. No, they look at everybody. And the reason why I bring up the Tibetan monks, because they're the only beings on the planet that's in alignment with the source. Right? They the only ones that conduct themselves. They disconnected from the Terra Matrix altogether. They're uncorrupted in their ways. But they will still have to suffer along with the rest of us. And they on this planet with us. And I think about that every AM because I can feel their prayers. Say, yes, of course I read the Book of the Dead, coming forth by day, right? I've read it several times. And then there's one book, I got to read the Tibetan Book of the Dead again. I've read that one as well. Very deep read, y'all. Baby steps, right? But I can feel the prayers from the monks when I'm pouring my libations. I can feel that shit. Early in the, like before the sun come up, and you go out there and put your feet in the grass, before the traffic get moving, and you just get still for a minute, you can feel the presence of the prayers that they emitting from their temples all the way on the other side. If you dialed in with yourself. I mean, a lot of people hate themselves. I hate to say that, but it's true. But that's all a part of the programming. And I was watching this hypnotist yesterday, and he was telling me, he was talking about how when you scrolling through your phone, that when you looking at the screen and it's going by, that's a form of hypnotism that's taking place. And it's tapping into your psychic center. You know, you keep on scrolling and keep on scrolling. I try to scroll and like and shit. But you know what I do when I'm scrolling? I'm going to go through your page and go through about 9 or 10 videos if your stuff is interesting enough. And I'm going to go through your videos. I'm not going to just scroll up and down my For You feed. It's exhausting. I find somebody, they talking about something like, oh, that's interesting. Let me see what other things they talking about. You go to their page and be a whole bunch of shared videos. It don't even be the person that said it. But the person that uploaded it like it's them speaking. Stop doing that dumb shit. Get a person the credit of who video it is so that they can be found. Right? Why would you do that? Why are you gatekeeping a person's videos from other people? Stop doing that dumb shit. Just repost the fucking video and let the person be found. Let that person get the credit for putting that information out here. Y'all gotta stop doing that shit. Stop doing it. Don't say you haven't been told. But that shit has to cease, man. It really does. I want y'all to check out my YouTube channel. PaRuwty is the same as my profile name. Or put in 1089 TV. It should lead you right to me. Man, I've been uploading videos like crazy. I've been uploading videos, the long version of these highlights that you see on TikTok. The whole video, these lives, I upload the rest of the live to the YouTube, you know. And I'm thinking about just uploading the whole live from the last time I was on here. That was a very powerful live. That bug was off the chain. I don't know who was in here or who watched it, but a lot got disseminated during that particular transmission, and I was excited to upload it. When I was uploading videos, I had 7 other videos prior to this one, and each one of them was at least 2 hours long, at least that, right? I got some videos that be 3 hours, 4 hours long. And I had to patiently work my way through all those videos and upload them and edit them and chop them up just to get to the video I got on the editing floor right now. Very powerful. I haven't named it yet. I haven't uploaded it yet. But that one's coming up next. If y'all want to see the long form version of these lives, I do suggest you go to my YouTube. You know, and we're going to start going back on the YouTube too and doing lives there. Y'all know these lives be getting shadow banned. They also don't like me to upload the videos from the live. A lot of my uploads be ineligible, so y'all don't get to see everything. You gotta come to my page. And I gotta get that disclaimer to people, because some people, they done reached out like, yo man, I don't see none of your videos. Just come to my page. Come to the page and you gotta scroll the actual page. If you don't do that, it's a high probability they don't want you to make that connection. Because there are forces within the terror matrix that have been feeding on you. and they like, yo, man, we can't allow this nigga to take away all our energy sources. I'm showing you how to disconnect these cords that's tied to you so that you can thrive again and live in an empowered state of mind. You did. Anybody got any questions? Any other questions? We can still keep going now. Y'all tap the screen. Don't just leave it up to R2. Shouts out to R2 and Mother Edenbird. Y'all got any questions? You please ask your questions. He said, keep going, Doc. Right on. Well, y'all know we just came out of Moon Magic Mondays. And I said that earlier. Today, TikTok Tuesdays. And man, I burned so many cinnamon sticks and was saying my codes and doing my mantras. I mean, I got dizzy with it. And I know I was tapping in because my sacral just, like I had an intense pain hit my stomach, like I had an ulcer or something. I was like, dang, what the hell is going on? But I had thought about it. I was like, you know what? I did them codes. He said I didn't know I could burn cinnamon. Yeah, I don't know why not. Yeah, we talked about that, Santonio. We talked about that. We didn't talk about it this last time. But get you some cinnamon sticks, some bay leaves, get you some charcoal tablets, and you got to go through the thread. You got to go through the thread or go through the database Say, what is your thoughts on afterlife? Do you at least think there is one? Yes, of course there's an afterlife. The ancient Comedians, the ones that invented the concept of the afterlife, burial, funerals, embalming, they came up with that. A mortuary, all of that started in the Happy Now Valley. And that's what I do, young gunner, is I show people how to connect to their dearly departed in the afterlife. Because they're not dead. They just don't have density any longer. But many of them are still tethered to this reality because they didn't turn on their higher senses prior to them being extricated from their physical form. That's one of the main things in this particular game called life that you should do if you want to have a continuation and not have to cycle back, like somebody asked earlier, talking about reincarnation. And they wanted to know how I feel. I don't want to tell people how I feel. I don't like to tell people what I think. If y'all ask me the question, I want to answer your question. Ask me the question that you want to know. But what I was telling, I didn't expound to the being. Right? I didn't expound to him. But in order for reincarnation, they're using that terminology wrong. Their terminology is just be wrong. You can't have a reincarnation. That means that you reincarnated into the same exact incarnation that you just got out of, right? You're cycling back into this reality. You don't have the same mother and father no more. You might not even be in the same bloodline if you didn't do enough to appease the custodians of that bloodline. They won't even allow you back entry. And you got to go take on a whole nother mother and father, right? Say, my grandfather murdered someone, is it bad for me to honor them? Were you the one that talked about your grandmother? I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, did your grandfather get time for that? Yeah, I mean, you can still venerate him. You can still venerate him and try to absorb some of his ramification, right? But that was within the bloodline. That's a very sticky situation. And you could petition to the beings in your bloodline to forgive him for his egregious act. You know, someone has to take the high world and present that. These things is what allows beings that outrank us, that can assist your bloodline, to take interest in you. You have to show that you have what the Ifa called Iwa Pele. You have to show good character. I burned ancestor money for people I knew was a piece of shit. You hear me? I knew ain't nobody show up at their funeral. Nobody had nothing good to say about them. I still burn some for them. I still pour a libation for them. And not because I want brownie points. Just because it's the right thing to do, man. You have to empathize. And if you take that approach and you show some devotion to that petition, then you'll gain the interest of someone beyond the visible spectrum that can assist you, right? That's why I be telling y'all to make practical connections. Stop all that God and Jesus and, man, come on, man. Y'all going through a psychosis when y'all do that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for some, but y'all be tripping with that. Your grandmothers and your grandfathers are in a closer dimension to operate with beings that evolve at that level that you think God is, right? They closer to that than we are once they leave a body. And they are your liaison or your bridge to making a connection on that side. So you don't have nobody that you know to honor. Man, you got to honor all of them. If for anything, if they didn't do the horizontal mambo, that's what brought you here. So before you even incarnated into that bloodline, it was already predestined for all of that stuff to happen. That's just what came along with it. Right? Now, I don't know all the details. You know, you just got to reach out to me, loved one. Text me and we could talk. But just talking through the threads and talking through the TikTok to get an answer. You ain't even got to do that. You in the community. Just reach out. Reach out to me, man. We don't have to have no buffer. You know. Especially when it comes to something like that. I always got time. Y'all see, I don't know that girl from Adam, and that was in there. And I'm gonna hit you up too, sis. I'm gonna hit you up when we come off of here. But you know, that's what I am. I am my ancestors' keeper, man. And I know it work. I know it get their attention, and I know it keep the ball rolling. Right? And they love us. It ain't like they don't know what else to do because they didn't meditate. They didn't try to open their third eye, right? They don't know about chakra points. They knew ham hocks and chitlins and Christmas and Easter. You know, many of my elders, that's all they knew. And I can't knock them for that. They read their scripture diligently. They did their best to live by the laws of the Lord, right? They did all of that stuff right to the best of their ability. And they were good people. But it wasn't enough to negate them from existing in a form of purgatory of their own making. And that's what the Terra Matrix is designed to do. Y'all have no clue the type of interfaces I have when I go to sleep. I'm telling you, I have no clue. I ain't talking to everybody. I'm talking to a select few. You have no clue. Like, yo, some people be totally upset that Jesus is not there. Some people that be so adamant about Jesus coming to collect them, they keep bringing them to me. And like, yo, man, talk to this dude. Like, yo, man, I'm not your Jesus. I'm not that thing up on the wall or nothing like that. You know, he dead on the cross and shit. Like, didn't he die? Like, shouldn't you see him over here? I told somebody grandmama this the other night. I said, hey, if you know that you dead, where is Jesus? Didn't he die? They was like, yeah, but he was resurrected. I said, resurrected to where? They was like, over there with y'all. I said, nah, no, he wasn't. No. And she was trapped with that. She was stuck with that. But them the type of engagements that's bought to me. It ain't like I'll be looking for that shit be bought to me. When one of my grandmamas or one of my aunties or something. Right? Like, it'd be one of their girlfriends. Somebody that they went to high school with. You know, because them beings run across each other. Those worlds collide. And the reason why is because they share memories with one another. You follow? And they use those memories as bridges to cross over into purgatories. To give you guys some conceptual context of how the afterlife works. And this is just in response to the being that said, do I believe in the afterlife and all that shit? I don't have to believe it. I seen it. You know, I done seen beings make it over there that heard me talking this shit over here. And seen for themselves firsthand that this shit ain't no game. And now it's too late and they can't come back over here. Just wasted the whole, you know, and sometimes that's what happened within the timeline. If you done wasted too much time and you're not showing that you hell bent on aligning yourself, you'll be removed from this field of reality. It'll remove you. Because it's like, yo, you're just taking up space. It's 10,000 more souls ready to incarnate that's going to clear up their bloodline. And you just sitting there doing nothing. I mean, Absolutely nothing. Repeating rap songs and gaining weight. Taking up space. Trying to gosh with the younger generation. No, this shit gonna remove you. You have an instant heart attack. And like, damn, man, so-and-so died. But they wasn't doing nothing. They kept getting signs and indicators and messages on what they needed to be in alignment with, and they didn't do it. They said, nah, man, I don't want to do none of that shit. And it's like, you don't even know nothing. All of those people in your generations before you that didn't sacrifice and did all that they could just so you could be here to be as idle as you are, you owe them an ashe. And I'm telling you, I listen to all the elders. Shouts out to John Henry Clark. May the ancestors be with him. John Henry Clark, he said, man, if you pour libation for your people that preceded you in death, then somebody gonna do the same for you. If you don't do it, ain't nobody gonna do that shit for you. You better acknowledge them. You better pour that libation. You better tell their stories. Who don't want to be remembered? Everybody want to be fucking remembered. That's some bullshit. Everybody want to be acknowledged. You hear me? So you had to tell the people in your family these stories about their elders and the people that existed prior, if you've encountered them. Even if they understand it or not. I tell them to my children all the time. I'm like, I know you might not think it mean nothing now, but wait till your ass get older and then you're going to be like, damn, I want to know now. You hear me? So don't squander your time here. I told you guys, you got 100 years at best. You spent 12 years a slave, going to school. 15 years working. 15 years being entertained. That's 52 years of your life. You spent 24 years in the bathroom. Excuse me, that's 42 years of your life. You spent 24 years in the bathroom, that's 64 years, 66 years in your life. In 4 moves. Right? That 5th move, you spent 12 years doom scrolling through your cell phone. That's 78 years of your life. And then they be like, oh, they pat you on the ass and be like, now it's time for you to retire. It's all over. Then it scrolls everything up out of you. That's by design. And now you just waiting to go home to Jesus. And that nigga don't be there to receive you. It's such a disappointment to a lot of people. I'm telling you, man. Especially for those that know that they didn't transition. And they watch their funeral. And they watch the body get put in the ground. They watch them cover up the dirt. They follow some of y'all to the repast. And seeing who was really upset about them passing. And those that really did grieve for them, that really started talking, they didn't go to the ones that was grieving for them. They went to the ones that started talking about them. Vanessa was a good woman. She sure did love those grandkids. She raised a couple of them. Start telling the story that she started following that person around. And seeing that they're going to keep talking about them. And seeing what type of stories they're going to tell after they're gone. And 9 times out of 10, it don't even be somebody from the family. It be somebody that they done touched and they done took in that's holding up their name and showing them reverence. You hear me? This the type of stuff we talk about at the workshop. This is the type of stuff I'm going to open you guys up to for those that come out. Right? And all y'all people in the community, y'all can put yourself on a payment plan if you want to come. And that's the second time I'm saying this, and I done said it 3 or 4 times in the group. But I got to reiterate that to some of you guys so you will know. Go ahead and pay that shit in installments if you really want to be there. Because I don't just get that price out. It's going to go back up again. But I know people need to benefit from that. Because everybody that they took the discourse, they benefiting from it. And the network is getting stronger And our altars are starting, the sentience of the altar is starting to evolve with a lot of my students. That's why I gotta raise the price up, man. Y'all becoming a part of the exclusive network. Period. Right? And I told y'all, a lot of my people already good. They sharing their offerings with some of your people. They hear me tell their stories. My pops, I talk to my dad, he'd start telling me about somebody. I'd be like, tell me more. Tell me more. I want to hear more of that shit. Just so I could parrot the story to my children. Or parrot it to one of my siblings. Or one of my cousins. I don't mind hearing nobody from my great-grand cousins. I don't care. I want to hear your story. That would ensure, this is what ensures them to cross back over into the afterlife. This will make them want to come and assist you. Peace and love, beloved. You telling their stories. You telling what they did. You telling how they was. You telling the positive impacts they had on your life. You telling people the way that they made you feel. That raised their ranking in the spiritual universe as well. That can help bring them up out of their purgatory. Because like I told y'all, some of them know that they gone, but they still waiting for Jesus. A lot of them are right there by the phone waiting for Jesus to answer the phone. Really, it'd be Anubis or Anubu. That's who be dispatching these souls to where it's suitable for them. Right? That's who be taking them there. So that they could burn it out of their consciousness. If they can't, they got to go back through the halls of Amenti and take on another cycle of life. But you're not going to have the same exact life that you just incarnated out of. Now you're cycling back into be incarnated into this dimension again. Right? And if you didn't activate, let's just say the subconscious mind, you may not have memory of what happened in your last lifetime. A lot of you guys that are inquisitive about past lives and all of that stuff, it's because the memories from that life is still with you, right? And you have things in your subconscious mind that need to be opened up so that you could utilize whatever it is that was in your subconscious mind in this reality to help progress you further so that you could reach some stage of ascension. Because it's not just about you reaching ascension, it's about the bloodline reaching ascension, right? That's what it's really all about. Anybody else? Any other questions? Got any other questions out there? Y'all tap that screen. I keep going if y'all keep tapping. But think about it, man. And they show you that in the movie Coco. Remember we talked about Coco a few times. They show you that in Coco. The person that was talked about or that was remembered and they was telling their stories and shit. Right on, Darren. The people that was talked about, they were the ones that was the most visible. They were the ones that was able to make the connections between both dimensions and send the signs, the indicators, and the messages. See how they was able to matriculate? And then, listen, children are capable, they're capable of seeing into the afterlife. They're very psychic sensitive when they're young. He said he had clarity with it. He's following 200 miles. Yes, of course I seen Lucy. You must have been talking about your stepdaddy. You was saying some good shit about him, and you wasn't all, you was talking about him, and like, shit, man, let me follow him, man. Shit, man, this nigga holding me up. You know what I mean? That made him comfortable, because they get up to about 7 weeks, and they be navigating the full landscape, seeing who remembered them, who got something positive to say about them, who gonna still tell their stories before they dissipate from this dimension. And the motherfucker come back and help you. You fix his favorite dish, you put it up on your altar, even though he ain't even your real daddy. He might have raised you like a real daddy. That shit you get a stamp for that too. All the energy from that food, the smoke, right? The vapor from it. Said, I love to talk with you. All right. Book a consultation, level. All of the smoke, that shit go up into the afterlife, man, or it evaporates from this dimension into the next one, and they transfigurate that over. See, how do we make that happen? You gotta have an activated altar. You need an altar, not a shrine. You gotta have an altar in play, because the altar acts as a gateway. It also doubles as a modal that puts your consciousness online with the spiritual dimension, and in many cases, the afterlife. And that's a doorway for things to pass through. He said, oh, to talk with you. Yeah, just book a consultation. You got to book a consultation. Y'all got to do that. Or join our community. Just purchase a piece of tech and join our community. I'm going to talk with you for an hour any damn way when you purchase something. Yeah, but other than that, you had to book a consultation, because I be having too many people to talk to. You know, I don't even get to talk to the people that I want to talk to. I get to talk to the hype man in a couple of days. I'm like, damn, man, you get to hit up hype. I like to talk to my pops every AM, but I have to intercede for a couple of other beings that asked. Thank you, Dee. They even put that up there. People's like, hey man, I need to talk to you, Doc. That's in the community. Some of them are my students, right? Peace and love, see ya. Yeah, should I go? That's my pops right there. My pops is one of my students. That speaks multitudes in itself. But I was still like, damn, man, I didn't even get to talk to hype, man. It's time to get on the. But I had thought about the hike. I was like, damn, man, that's my pops. And like, he get that coupon in the morning. Yeah, I'm a devil worker. Oh man, hey, I'm just carrying my fair portion. You know. Thank you, Turtle Island. We'll get to chop it up. But yeah, I'm like, dang, possibly getting a lot of access. I do gotta start tapping in with more of these beings that's in the community and to show them what's going on. But you know, don't worry. Me and Pops holler all the time. But I've been talking to a lot of different people since last PaRuwty Thoth Day up to now. You know. Some people need that one-on-one. Y'all be needing it. Y'all need to hear certain things. When y'all get me on the line like that, y'all better take some notes. Take notes. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. You know, like Ricky said, the best you can get is coming out to event. Said this is timely because I've been turning away from work. Yeah, man. Yeah, we get to talk then. I'm gonna talk to you. You know, as I said earlier in dialogue, you know, when you get to a certain destination in life, you never been there before. So it's not you don't have nothing familiar to reference. So it's going to be uncomfortable, if you will. You're going to be uncertain, and you don't have nothing to work on to validate where you are in the station of your consciousness. And you may start thinking that, hey, I'm doing something wrong. It's like, no, you're just at a new plateau and you've never been there before, right? And since you've never been there before, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. It's like when I first went through the airport in Utah. I'd never been in that airport before. I was a little lost and confused. And I only had 15 minutes to get to my next gate. And I was like, yo, I never came in this airport before. Can you show me? You know what I mean? Remember I tell y'all, ask questions like, hey, I'm not feeling too sure of myself. I know the person said go this way and do that. Can you show me? The lady was like, yeah, no problem. It was a sweet white lady. She's like, no problem, honey. Just go this way. I was like, yes, ma'am. She's like, do I need to write it up? Well, like, no, I want to make sure. Just tell me what signs I need to look for. And I got right to my damn gate, right? But I was unfamiliar. So as you go on your journey, every journey has a destination, and it could be having several destinations within that journey, right? And many of these destinations you've never been to before. And we tend to clam up, or the fear mechanism kicks in when we engage in an environment we are unfamiliar with. That's the first thing that gets activated. That's the animal side of our nature. That's not who you are. It's just the animal side of your nature. That's a genetic trait that kicks in order to sustain your ability to keep existing and thriving here, right? Just a protection mechanism in place. And that may have been triggered in the case of what you're doing, Turtle Island. So as these things keep happening, like Dr. Ray popping up and you hear me talking about the afterlife, this is your clear indicator, like, oh shit, I need to get on my but it's just a confirmation to let you know that, like, yo, man, tap in. You can do it, especially if you already you got the input to the circuitry to those type of connections. I'm just here to make certain that you know that, hey, man, you got this shit. Because we need more people like that too. There's not enough people that are advocating for the ancestral plane. Everybody advocating for Baphomet, Lilith, Lucifer, the devil. You know what I mean? They putting hexes on people, putting binding spells on people. How you got time to be doing all this malefic evil shit with all of these evil ass spells that's already been endowed on us? Make that shit make sense, right? So it's not enough people opening up portals for the ancestor realm. Oh man, congratulations to your daughter, man. Salute. All right. But yeah, man, it's too many portals for dark entities to come through. And I'll go through that again. Because a lot of these beings like to be in apartment buildings. Dark practitioners like being in apartment buildings because they got a whole enclave of targets for their demons to attach to. You know what I'm saying? And they'll generate these altars. And the girls say, hey, I want a sugar daddy. I want to be a sugar baby. Bind this nigga to me. I want this juicy to make him go crazy. I want him to take care of me and my 3 kids and my 2 baby daddies. Right? And the girl get to work in a spell like Doctor Strange in No Way Home with Spider-Man. The motherfucker get to work in the spell and doing his little shit. Now the dude is pussy whipped and shit. And the demon came through that altar to collect his receipt. Now that's between him and that practitioner. And the demon give that person what they wanted, but the practitioner gotta let the demon run free. And when a demon done doing his devilishment, he gotta give it an exit up out of this dimension. And they find old water Old maintenance man, Walter. Sweet as he could be. Go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays and Saturdays. And that damn being jumping to his body, because Jesus ain't protecting him from that being jumping into his body and filling him up with lust that gives him the strength to kick in the door and do something unruly to some underage minor. And he don't even know why he doing it. But the person that let that demon out know it, they just didn't know where the demon went. And it finds out after the fact what the demon has done. And I don't know who need to hear this, but you will have to pay for that shit. That receipt is coming back to your ass too for doing that shit. Now you done scarred this little boy or that little girl for life. The being that committed the egregious act is confused as to why they even did it in the first place. And they can't give no explanation. And the demon that took over their body, a demon is a spirit, right? For all you spirit said ass niggas. The demon jumped into the body, had his fun, created a whole bunch of conflict, confusion, and chaos, and then jumped out that body and came back through the altar that the being had up for that particular egregor. This shit go on every day, all the time. And there's not enough people that don't advocate for the dark side with altars. There's not enough of us. It's not. It's like 1,000 to 1. I'm just keeping it funky with y'all. Because we coming up on seminars. So I'm going to start giving y'all a little bit more ancestral and altar knowledge. Right? So the people in our community, there's several other communities too, right? And I'm talking about people from the Western world. That's no disrespect to everybody else thing. But we never had this. A lot of y'all was already up on it. We never had it. That's why we call it the PaRuwty's paradigm. We in a new paradigm. All right? We in a new paradigm. You heard of the 4 horsemen? This is the year of the horse. They call it the fire horse. I'm a horse in Chinese astrology. And fire, we associate that with Sekhmet, right? Y'all know who Sekhmet is to me, correct? Y'all know who Sekhmet is, right? All right. We are in a new paradigm, and there's no turning back from it. That old operating system not gonna work. It's analogous to you attempting to take your computer that had Windows 95 installed upon it, and you attempting to hook it up to the Wi-Fi in your home in 2026. That was 31 years ago. Remember them gateway computers that had the little cow spots on it? And you try to take it out, and it don't even got the mechanism. It don't even got the circuitry to pick up on Wi-Fi. It doesn't even have nothing in this operating system that can process what Wi-Fi is. You understand? I want people to be able to grasp this so that y'all know, like, damn, man, maybe I need to, I'm tripping. I'm bugging out. I told y'all about my homeboy, Asian Greg. Shouts out to Asian Greg. You know, Asian Greg, he know how to scale businesses. And he done been all over the world. You hear me? This being grew up in the neighborhood with Bill Gates. Before he was Bill Gates. Well, was he Bill Gates? Well, he always been Bill Gates, but you know what I mean. Before his mediocre rise. He said, man, you're the only black person whose house I've been in that has an altar. He was like, man, not only do you have an altar, you dedicated to it. I was like, how you know? He was like, I could tell. He just looked at it and could tell. Didn't even have to tell him nothing. I didn't like, hey man, let me show you my altar. I didn't do none of that. Never did that with him. But he was quite, it made me quite interesting and quite unique from any and everybody else he know. He's like, man, not a lot of people have altars. He's like, I thought that was just something that we did. And then he seen me do it. Then he said he seen a Hindu dude, an Indian dude. He said that guy, like, I went to use his bathroom one day. The nigga had an altar in his shit. Like, oh shit. But that's not something customary to the Western world. Your altar's supposed to be an altar boy in the church with the altar that's in the church. Right? Y'all need to go see that movie Piano. I want to say it's on Netflix. It's on one of those networks. Check out Piano. When you see Piano, that was written by Denzel Washington. That's talking about the ancestors and calling out their names. And I ain't talking about no ancient archaic shit. And let me say that again, because a lot of y'all know this, but this is for the people that don't know. When you say ancestors, your ancestors are not your grandmothers and your grandfathers. Those are not ancestors. That's your grandmother and your grandfather. Your ancestors don't begin until 2048 pair of great-grandparents. That's where your ancestors begin. On the other side of that are the children of the ancestors, and that's what a lot of your bloodlines are. They're the children of the ancestors. They're the byproduct of those custodians within those lines, right? But it's a lot of veneration and a lot of libation, a lot of names that need to be invocated and acknowledged on a consistent basis so that you can break down the corridors that take you down the terminals and the channels of those particular bloodlines, right? And it's a lifetime dedication. This ain't no on and off thing. Like, shit, man, I ain't did no libations in about 2 months. Like, you can't get on that type of time. You go that long without doing the libation, something gonna be off in your life. I'm telling you. They gonna turn their back on you. Like, man, fuck this motherfucker. He ain't even trying to tap in with us. Know what I mean? And I watch some people, they'll be at their altar, they'll get what they want, they'll make a petition for something, their ancestors give it to them, and then they stop fucking connecting to their ancestors. Don't say that you haven't been told. Because a lot of times when people be mistaken for spiritual attacks and somebody put a hex on me, nah, man, that be your own dearly departed getting at your ass. Getting your attention because you fucking up. And you not doing something that you know you should have did, but you didn't do it. And you think you're getting away with something, but you're not. I done seen it. I told y'all I've been on this journey a long time. I done seen a lot of shit. I done read, I done seen, I've experienced. I know the ebb and flow of things. Right? That's a difference. That's a difference. But that's what happens on and off during the course of a person's lifetime. You know, like my mother before me, because my mother, may the ancestors be with her, she always venerated. She always poured libations. She had an altar. And when it was brought to my attention that I need to have an altar, I got my altar. Right? And me and my mama both had an altar. And then until she passed. And when my mother passed, me and my sister had an altar. And then my father ended up having an altar. And then my cousin, one of my cousins, or two of my cousins, they ended up having an altar. Right? Under my guidance. So I show people how to do this. Now, some of them was off and on. It wasn't hard for me to integrate that into my life because I grew up as a Muslim. And I practiced Islam enough as a child to have certain hardwirings within the mechanisms of my understanding be hardwired. So I have no problem getting up in the morning and prostrating, right? That was the first part of my early life. We had to do that as a family, right? Every day. My brother used to call the name. Right? My brother, my oldest brother, I'd be telling people like, yeah, my brother was like my second father. My father was the underboss to a law. So what I thought. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. My sister was like a second mother to me. I had to answer to them. Man, if my pops and my moms had to say something, oh shit, nigga, I was in trouble. Right? Like you wouldn't even know. And there wasn't no rebuttals, wasn't no recants in my home. You know what I mean? You told to do something, you do that shit. You don't give no ad-libs. You give no rebuttals. There is no why. Why is a bad word, was a bad word in my home. Why? Straight up. But before they told me, and I told my pops this several times, I used to think he was a law. And I thought my mama was a law. And I thought my grandparents was a law too. I thought they was the bigger law. I'm like, man, they must be the real law. Like, man. Then I thought the sun was a law, which it is. This before I asked anybody anything. And I never forget, Pops, you probably don't remember it, but we was going up to Mosque number 1, right there on Davidson. And I know you don't really remember that. But I was just like, man, we were standing in line to go on to Jumar. It was a Friday. And I said, hey, Dad, I got to ask you something. He was like, what? I said, are you a law? He said, what? Stuff for law. And he just popped me on my mouth, like, pop. It wasn't like real hard or nothing, but he like, stuff for law. You say something like that. He said something else to me in Arabic. Because my pops used to be talking Arabic and all that shit. You hear me? But if I ain't never asked, like I told y'all, children already be absorbing everything when they're young. It's when we put them in pre-K that they get indoctrinated into, you know, Satanism, into the pentagram, you know. And Uncle Sam start warning you. Who was Uncle Sam? That's Sam Hain. Sam Hain is another name for Satan. And that's what they was worshiping when they came over here on the Mayflower. They came over here on the Mayflower so that they could have their Mayfair in honor of Sam Hain, who is the devil. That's why he got a goatee and they say Uncle Sam wants you. Right? I'm just telling y'all what it is for those that don't know. Right? It's a lot of witches and warlocks. They said, man, y'all gonna have to use this new language on somebody. And you're gonna have to suppress them and get them to learn this language so you can spellbound them. You ain't gotta show them how to write it. You ain't gotta tell them to read it. You just gotta force them to learn the language. And the language will do it itself. So that's why they came over here. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh, we come in the name of Christ. That's why I get on some of y'all pale people like, yo, man, don't come to me trying to tell me nothing about God. Don't be telling me Jesus love me. And don't do that. Because that's how your people infiltrated these shores. That's how they got into everybody's fucking territory. But let somebody come in your country trying to say that shit. Y'all gonna gun their ass the fuck down. Tell me I'm lying. Tell the truth, it shames the devil, man. Tell the truth, it shames the devil. I'll take one more question, man. We got to get on up off of here. I got to let my phone charge back up. Something wrong with my charger. I think I done wore the charger out, man. I had to get them videos uploaded, man. Got to get them videos uploaded. Wow. Right on, Angela. She just told me, like, I always get little mystical messages like that. You know, she thanked me for burning the money for her, for dearly departed. She said the next day a big ass hawk landed on her fence. Like, I always get testimonies like that. Right? That just happened in real time, and I just shared it with you. Right? I ain't gonna show it to you. And shouts out to Motive. But I'm telling y'all, I get that all the time. These are clear signs and indicators. Like, yo, man. And even the brother, the Turtle Island individual, Matriarch, he said he walked away from the ancestors. Hey, man, you're gonna have to walk back, and you will. You know what I mean? I'm just your clear sign for you. And that's a confirmation for anybody else that's watching to the living testament of, I don't want to say my authority, but of, you know, my station in this reality and how I assist the beings in the afterlife. Right? I empathize. I wouldn't want to be over there and ain't nobody remembering me. Don't nobody remember shit that I fucking did. You know what I mean? And for all you bitter women out there that be shitting on the baby daddies and you keeping your children away from their parents, I mean from him and his mama and daddy, yo, it's a ramification for that. I'm telling you. It's a ramification. Won't nobody want you in their bloodline. They be like, shit, nah, man, I don't want that girl over there. Nah, we good. Last incarnation, your soul incarnated as a woman and you was tripping. You done cut off all type of branches and fuck shit up. We don't need that. It'll be some family from Laos that live in the water, that live in a mud hut. He said, what can I use other than the incense to cleanse my room? You need to get you some purple rain, right? Get you some ammonia, some purple fabuloso, and mix them together. Spray down the running boards, the window sills, the windows. You know, get those a good wipe down. You know what I mean? Palo Santo the room. Frankincense and myrrh. Don't open the windows until it's fully encapsulated with those particular modality. Then open those windows up and it'll push all that stuff up out of there, right? That's what you need to do. Play the tones. I always play frequency tones every day. I don't want to say I'm addicted to it, but I'm such a ritualistic person. I didn't incorporated that shit into there. Like, as soon as I finish with all my rituals, I turn all my TVs, all my telephones, everything be going off. Boom, 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 boom. That shit reset the energy. You know, sometimes you gotta just clap your hands. You know, do some exercise, run in place, or do 100 jumping jacks. That helps remove lethargic energy from being stagnant in your home. You hear me? Make sure you open them windows up. Let some fresh chi flow through the home. Some people are like, man, I never opened my window before. Like, no, that's why I feel so stagnant. Stuff gets stuck. You gotta have that flow. When the wind be blowing, it come through my garage and it'll open up my bedroom door. It'll slam the bathroom door. It'll push my son's door open. That way I know the chi is flowing. You hear me? There's no stagnant energy nowhere. And for my people that's in the AAA, y'all know what I be saying about them opening door and closing doors. So imagine if you already then created a breezeway for the chi to move through your home other than that front door. Right? I had to take the balloons I had got for my wife's birthday or whatever, and for Mother's Day, because her birthday on the same day as Mother's Day. Can you believe that shit? But I had to take the balloon and bust it. I mean, it stayed up for a couple of weeks, but I had to like, man, who is that? Because it'll feel like somebody else in the crib when I be alone. But it'd be the balloon just moving back and forth and shit up on the ceiling because of the wind. It's just having that chi. And I'm telling y'all that so y'all will know how to keep the energy flowing in the home so it don't be stagnant. The energy just don't be stuck in one place. It's like that shit gotta stay, everything gotta circulate, right? Had that circulation popping off. Sometimes my voice be a little raspy because I done burn so much cinnamon or so much Palo Santo, so much ancestor money, right? And that ancestor money, before I come on here, it just be a big ass cloud just over my desk. It just be hovering right here. And that's how I be knowing. And I be at my altar. While I'm at my altar, I'll look back and I see a cloud of smoke just hovering in this area. And that's how I know, okay, I need somebody gonna be on here today that need to hear my message. Sometimes it don't be hovering right here. Sometimes it'll hover in this area, and sometimes I'll come out the bathroom and it'll be in my bedroom. Like it'll just be a hover, it'll be a cloud of smoke. It look like it got a sentience to it because it just be sitting there. I'm like, damn. Let me open this window up. I'll open up the window when it still don't move. I'm like, damn. Or sometimes I come out the shower and it'll be then settled right here. Most of the times it be settled right here, but sometimes it don't be there, right? But those things are highly essential to do. Cleanse out the corners, hit the running boards, you know, get you some purple rain and wipe everything down. Stop playing all that ratchet ass music, man. Stop turning that shit up too loud. Some of y'all be having the music blasting, you emitting that energy into your home. Like, man, keep that shit down. He said, I can't stand it. Me neither, man. I ain't like, God damn, man. It just, I mean, I had to empathize with it because I too used to do it. But it's like, no, I ain't feeling that shit no more. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I want to listen to some Regina Bell, some Stephanie Mills, just all that shit from the 80s. What's my man name? Donnie Hathaway, Sam Cooke, some Al Green, the Delphonics, you know what I mean? Anita Baker. That shit be reminding me of everybody that's gone now. And it also brings them around. And they start sharing memories with me. And I get to crying and shit. Not because I'm sad, not because of grief. It's just because you remember the memory. You know what I mean? And it make my heart that much lighter. And I'm like, man, you know what? I feel good today. I feel touched. Let me touch somebody the way that I'm feeling. Let me give a reciprocity of what I've received to somebody else. Because I'll be good. You know, part of my moon magic is about having my yearly income into my monthly income. And certain stuff been coming up about philanthropy and stuff like that. And I seen the documentary, it just touched my heart the other day. I watched the movie, but after I watched the movie, I seen the documentary about the children, especially those that be living in these motel rooms, these extended stays and stuff like that. You know, that shit be hitting me. And it's like, damn, man, it's fucked up. I empathize for those children that have to live in those conditions. They didn't ask for that, you know, and a lot of times the parents hadn't been reared up right to know what to do. And in some cases, they're going through a cycle of that. You know what I mean? Most of it is seeded in some form of rebellion with the mother or the grandmother. And they just never was able to get a stronghold. Trying to be too fast, wanted to leave home too soon. And ended up in the perpetual cycle of your own rebellion, right? Some people call them generational curses. Those are not curses, those are traits. Those are genetical behaviors, that learned behaviors that get stored in the DNA. You have to acknowledge it. You can't like, oh man, what's wrong? Like, no, you know what the fuck is wrong. If the mama did it, then the daughter gonna do it too. And the daughter, then her daughter gonna do it. You know. But it was a movie. I'm gonna tell y'all the name, but that really touched me. It's like, yo, man, I had to think about these type of things. Like, what would if I had the extra money to give, who would I assist? And I ain't talking about my cousin or, you know, my sister down on bad. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about somebody whose life I can impact and change that shit all the way to fuck around and create opportunity for their children, right? And it's those people that live in the motel rooms, man. I feel for them. I do. And I ain't never been in that type of situation. You know, thank the gods and the ancestors, right? But I empathize. And it's a movie called The Florida Project. Y'all need to go check that shit out. It's on HBO Max. The Florida Project. I was not planning to watch that shit. And my man Turtle Island know what I'm talking about. But he's like, yo, he's seen the Sims just with me. But them Sims be popping up like that. Like, I don't let no Sim get by me. And so now I think about those extended stays. Every time I pass one, I think about what some of those people got, the hardships. The women and the men. Because there be men in there that be taking care of their children and it don't be no woman there. You know what I mean? These things, this is what's going on right now in the so-called United States of America. And nobody care about those children because it ain't their children. Right? But I love all children. I don't care what color they are or nothing. I just had my heart go out, man. You know, I had to say a special prayer that night for those beings. And it's just, man, making your child go in the bathroom while you turn a trick. That's not no upbringing for a child to have to go through, man. They shouldn't have to be exposed to stuff like that. And that's something that needs to be highlighted and accented by our government, but they're not doing it. They want to play politics, but they don't want to play. They want to govern. Govern means to control. They want to govern some shit, but they don't want to control situations that are out of control. Right? And bring some stability to people's lives, especially for the children. You know? But somebody got to talk about these things. Like, man, y'all know me, you're the people in the community. Y'all already know how I get out. But for those that don't know me, I like to touch on subjects that need to be touched on. I don't like to just talk about shit because it's trending or because everybody else talking about it. I talk about the things that need to be said, things that are affecting the now. We are, oh, I got it so bad. But 90% of the shit that you're doing, you don't even have to be doing, and you wouldn't be having it so bad. Right? What sound went down? Okay, I'll turn it up. We live in the new world of North America. You have nothing to fucking complain on. You have nothing to complain about. You stay in the new world of North America. You got AC, carpet. Even the people that got to stay in them extended stays, they got AC, carpet. It might not be designer, but you got it. Take your ass to the Philippines. It ain't no air conditioning. That's a luxury. You hear me? I went to Africa one time. They was like, what's the window? They didn't even know what a window was. I said, where the window at? They said, window? What's window? Nah, they just didn't understand that shit. Vacuum cleaner. They didn't know what a vacuum was. They called that a luxury. They said, oh, that's luxury item. They just called it a luxury item. Same thing with the washing machine and dryer. Yeah, it's like that's a luxury item. We don't have that here. All right? I can't wait to go back. Exactly, sweet. But they ain't had carpet. It was like, you mean the rug? It's like, rug? I said, no, carpet. They didn't know what that shit was. Like, what is carpet? No, we don't have that here. We do not have any carpet. What is this carpet? It's a rug. I said, no, not the rug, carpet, man. They didn't, at that time, that was earlier in the 2000s. So that was I don't want to call it a culture shock for me, but it was a awakening to how Americanized my psychic was, you know, in comparison to those people. I ended up, I ain't leave with none of my clothes. They had to give me some of their clothes. I gave them my drawers, my socks, my undershirts. I left all that shit there. My do-rags, I had hair at the time. My do-rags there. Like, yo, y'all can have all this shit. They was like, really? I said, yeah, man. They was happy as hell with that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's 222. I'm doing cool time for that. Where Bazoom be by Moel Kolum. Who partner to that? Minu nu sheu kawun elabihu. Atumre. Nu nunet. He het ket kiket. Amun amunet. Atum shu tefna gab nut or set. Oh, excuse me. Asaru. Neptet satuk haru happy anquidanti. Nefertum mantu bepti. Sekmet het har. Best. Pata. Bas amhotep. Who me hurt kapri meskahenet. Riot kentamintu. Hika neve maya. Renintat shah. Sishat mafdad sobek. Anubu kansu tanim. Sia hikat amsu sarapi. Atumre tahuti. Ta'aret selket ha. Nehebka sokar bait. Akir. I didn't hear it. Wabwawit. Sikat hitat Moresgir. Sia gadet astinu. Bahutit kaneptet. Minkat him madudi kabasinu. Duamutef. Merit ura ejinakabit. Sikat anukat jet. Tim uis anku ahnuit satis. Sakti imta'a. Ninna imuet imseti kimamu. Reshat Mary. Amun-Re. For the sake of all. Yeah, so that's that, you guys. We're going to end it on that note. Get on off of here. This has been TikTok Tuesdays. Make sure y'all follow me on YouTube. Don't forget to like the video. You ain't got to watch the whole damn video. Just put a thumbs up on that mug for me, all right? May the ancestors be with you in this great day and time called Noontide Race. Shouts out to the 1089 Tech community and the AAA Academy. May the ancestors be with you all. See you guys again on the next transmission. Wadu.